All right. Thank you very much, Ivana. As she mentioned, I'm going to talk about home, where everyone knows your name. Hopefully this works. I don't know if you could hear that. We were having issues with the recording. Okay, well, it was the Cheers theme. So everybody just kind of in your head, now you have the Cheers theme where everyone knows your name. And what is home? Home is your club, your members, your website, which I don't know how many of you have looked lately, but I like to think when you invite people to, or at least when I invite my people to my home, I always think of it as a really good excuse to clean my house more than I normally would. And your website was just kind of spruced up a little bit. Can everybody see my screen? Thumbs up, yes, okay. There was nothing wrong with your website. I just updated it and made it more current. So there's a few things here that are really good for guests because they don't have to be members to be able to access some of this information. First of all, you can see right here that I added when you chartered in 1959. That's huge. You're the second oldest club in Division B. I kept your mission statement, and I should preface this by saying I got permission from the officers to do this. I did not just take it on myself to redo your website. If you are just visiting the website as a guest, you have this banner here. And if somebody clicks that join us, it goes right to the application. I added an update about your workshop today. You can put meeting information. I know you always have the dates here. If you're having a themed meeting, add a picture about a themed meeting, then just change it every time you have a meeting. This was your last family photo that we were at your meeting. I took that. 3 of your members were at the Great Pumpkin Spice Debate. And then your recognition. Those are things to always keep changing on your homepage. So you leave this up for Kay for a little bit. When she gets level 5, take that one down, put level 5 up. And you might be wondering, okay, well, that's great, but what did you do with all my pictures? They're over here in the photo gallery for anybody to see who visits your club. All the pictures that were on your front homepage, some that you had saved, some I had this was from a workshop that Lou was a special guest, just added those pictures, and those you just keep adding to the most recent at the top. What's really nice though is you have a digital guest pack in your home base. If someone's visiting, you can copy this link, put it in chat, send it directly to the guest and say, hey, after the meeting, check out our digital guest pack. You'll have the anatomy of a Toastmasters meeting. You don't have to explain it. It's all explained there for you. Why Toastmasters? There's a lot of information here for people to look at. Toastmasters magazine. And this is general information for first timers, which they end up having to download. It's a work document. There's some pathways information, resources. This is great. Some of you have said, oh, we really don't know how to start a speech. Well, here you go. There's 5 great ways to start a speech. Click here for more information. Lots of information here. What I really like is the word of the day. So grammarian, if you're stuck for a word of the day, goes right here. All of that is available to anyone who visits your website without having to log in. If you decide for members, when you log in, you get some extra information. And you have to put in your password, right? Of course. Let's see if that one worked. So the agenda is the top on the list. And we've all heard Kay say, please go to the agenda and sign up for roles. It's very easy. Click agenda. As long as you have access to this website, you are automatically, your name is automatically here for the agenda. So you can go ahead and sign up. I put myself there as speaker for your next meeting. But maybe I wasn't going to come to your next meeting. I was going to come on the 21st and give a speech. You can sign up in advance. That would make Kay's job a lot easier. There's some new information for you here as well. For those of you who are officers, most of you, I'm sure, are aware of what your officer role is. But let's say somebody, I'm just going to pick on you, David. Let's say you thought, you know, I think I might want to be an officer next year, but I'm not really sure what they're all about. If you click the officer tools, everything's here. You click every one of these and it will go right to a TI, Toastmasters International site that gives you an overview of what each officer's role is. This is the club officer's handbook. You don't have to do anything. It's linked to Toastmasters. So in June of 2022, when the updated version comes out, there it is for your next slate of officers. Your club success plan. These are all things that you need to have in your home base to give your club a good solid foundation. And this will go right to your distinguished club status. In other words, the progress. It shows how your club is doing. You already have met 2 out of 10 goals. It tells you how many members you have. And this might not be updated if you have new members, but the applications haven't processed. There's your 2 points there. And it's something to just keep an eye on. You have meeting roles, brand new members. They say, not really sure what the general evaluator does. You could click that and it's a Word doc. They have to open it up. All of these for whoever does the website, your website webmaster, these are all saved as Word docs. So if you want to change the verbiage, I tried to tweak it so it looks like what's on your agenda. But if the verbiage is off, you can go in and change it and then add it again to the website. And then there's some member resources as well. There's stuff to do outside of the club. There's things to do outside of the area and the division. This will take you to Facebook pages. There's a lot of stuff here at home that you can share to get the word out about your club, make your club keep getting successful, bring guests in. Apologize for the dog barking. Someone's knocking on my door. We're not home, busy. That's what I have for you for home. I hope you like the website. I gave you a template, so to speak. Now it's up to you. You can just run with it, change it. If you need any help, you know where I am. But with that, I'd like to now turn it back to Ivana.
Thanks, DJ. That was very informational. So now I will give the presentation to Olivette of VISO, and she is also a DTM, and she's a PDG. She's the first district governor, which is now called the district director, to lead District 45 to the President's Distinguished. Olivette's leadership shines as a member of District 45 and District 3. Our most experienced Toastmaster joins us from Arizona. Olivette will be sharing our Toastmaster campus, ABC, easy as 1, 2, 3.
Just a second, if you please bear with me. There you are. Yeah, see. Let's try this again. There we go. I am sharing my screen that shows you the Toastmasters International homepage. This is a marvelous resource for both members and non-members that will allow you to access pathways. You start with your login. This is the login page. This member ID/email, never mind the email. The member ID is your unique identification number for Toastmasters International. It stays with you even if you drop out of Toastmasters membership. When you return to Toastmasters membership, you will still have the same member ID. They store it in their vast vaults of data. There is a password. Like any website that you sign into, you will have to have a password. You do not have to create the password. If you scroll down, you will see first time logging in, click here. Toastmasters will assign you a password and you will use that password forever to sign into the Toastmasters webpage. If you forget your password, click this link. And then if you don't have a membership in a club, then you can click on this link and find a club that you would like to perhaps visit and then join. So I'm going to sign in really quickly so I can access some things and you can't see my password because it's mine. Ah, yes, this is the new second step security measure that Toastmasters has instituted recently, and you have to click on pictures. This time it's chimneys, sometimes it's motorcycles, sometimes it's almost anything. And when it stops spinning, I have a welcome from Toastmasters International. And there is information on this homepage for you. At this point, you can go to many options on this banner. Whoops, come back here. You can read these. I'm not going to read these to you, but there are many of these available, and they all have drop-down menus. This welcome message has something that is very pertinent to your personal Toastmaster usage. You will have a profile, and that profile, if you click on it, will tell you not only how to access pathways, which we're not going to do right this instant, but it'll tell you about yourself, your address, your email, obviously, the clubs that you belong to, your phone number, and then it will give you information about your personal Toastmasters history. Perhaps you're not sure what education awards you have earned if you've been in Toastmasters for a year or more. You can click on this and it will give you your history. This is all printable information. Okay, so that was the profile. And it doesn't say profile anywhere until you click on it. And now this is information I told you was under each one of these categories in a drop-down menu. Again, I'm not going to read these to you. I think that at this point, if you're a Toastmaster, you know how to read, right? Okay, if you don't, well, we'll give reading lessons in another session, not this one. Excuse me. The humidity levels in Arizona are very low, like 14%, not quite, but anyway. So the next one on our banner, Pathways. This is our education program. And you will have additional information about this in the next section. So I just say that here is your drop-down menu for Pathways. This is an education information, and it will also link back to Pathways. If you want information about membership, this is similar to what is on your Free Toast Host Club page. However, this is available to you without even logging in, and available to people who are not members, but who are curious. What is Toastmasters? Why Toastmasters? And other information available to you. Leadership Central is something that most of you will not have to worry about unless you become a club officer or go on beyond the club to be a leader. Again, I'm not going to go through all of these links, but you are free to access these. If you are not allowed to access the information will be grayed out, or you will not be able to open it at all. This next section on resources is invaluable information. You can access this and it will give you information on, well, again, you can read this. I like you to call your attention to the brand portal section here. Toastmasters has copyrighted its brand. The colors that are used on stationery, the designs that are used on trophies and other awards, and other materials such as the manuals. These are branded pieces of information copyrighted by Toastmasters International. People sometimes make the mistake of taking the Toastmasters name and even some of the logo and putting it on non-Toastmaster material. That is technically illegal. If you want information about the restrictions or the many templates that are available, by all means come to Resources, Brand Portal, and take a look. These are things that you can use. You can make your own business cards using the designs that are available to you here, and also the colors, because the colors are part of the brand that Toastmasters has copyrighted. Moving on to the magazine. There are links to all of the Toastmasters magazines and the articles that are available. As you see this smaller link, previous issues, you can go back in the history of the magazine and find information that was available maybe last year or even farther back than that. The articles are available here with other links. The Toastmasters magazine provides information that expands your knowledge of how to give a speech, little tidbits about things like vocal variety, the use of gestures, what kinds of other visuals you might want to include in your presentations. What were you talking about? how to create a speech, and what do you have here in an article, how to succeed in speech writing. Very, very timely subjects. There are also fun subjects. And here is our international president who is sending out an informational link that is in every Toastmaster magazine. The international president this year is a woman. Yes. Okay, let's see if we can make this so that you can see what I'm looking at here. It's being obstinate, but that's okay. It's like me. Okay. It's being obnoxious. Oh, fiddlesticks. Okay. Aside from the magazine, the next topic is the shopping, the events tab. Again, a pull down menu. These are the important and memorable events that have occurred in the recent past. The 2020 International Convention, the 2021 International Convention. International conventions take place in August. And for the past couple of years, they've been online, so that there are all sorts of interesting things, educational sessions, special awards that are given. It's a wonderful opportunity to see what goes on outside of your club. There is the world of Toastmasters that lives outside of your club. You'll hear more about that a little bit later in this presentation. And finally, you see this little shopping cart? Well, guess what that has to do with? Shopping. The Toastmasters store is organized in sections, a section for you, toys and things you might like, things for your club, awards, certificates, and other information. Here's a webcam and microphone that they offer if you would care to get that for your club, for your online meetings. Not necessary, but available. For the district, don't worry about those. The district leaders will take care of those. And they also have products that are specifically available for people who have difficulty hearing or seeing what is going on and what is available. Additional sections are for contests. You're going to have a club contest. What are you going to need for your contest? Well, take a quick look. How about awards? The awards are wonderful. If the pictures would show up, you could see. Patience is a virtue. Here are some of the trophies that are available to be awarded at the speech contests. There are many other awards that are used for different things, and there is a space available for documentation of what and when and to whom the award was given. That's what's available on your Toastmaster home page. And it's available to you. There's a search function here. And when you first sign in, there's also a little window that shows up on the lower right-hand corner that will give you an immediate opportunity to talk with someone at Toastmasters headquarters. After hours, not so much, but you can email them and they'll get back to you. Pardon me. Okay, I am going to finish my presentation with pathways. Be nice, be nice. There. And I will return control to Ivana, our Toastmaster of the evening, who will then present you with your next section. Thank you for your attention. Ivana, it's all yours.
Thank you, Olivet, for taking us on that adventure of the Toastmasters campus. It definitely made it seem like it was ABC, easy as 1, 2, 3. Try not to sing it. I will now introduce our next presenter, and they'll be co-presenting. So we have Peggy Seymour, who is the DTM and is president of the Maine Thing Toastmasters, and as a member in 3 other clubs in District 83. Peggy is well on her way, completing all the paths and pathways, as well as creating a new plan as her DTM projects. She joins us tonight from my home state, New Jersey. And then we have Angela, true DTM2, who's no stranger to most of you. She started in Toastmasters in Brunswick Toastmasters. She's the 2nd Toastmaster in Division B to achieve 2 DTMs, 1 in Legacy as well as the 2nd in Pathways. She has served as the Area 14 Director and Division B Director before taking on her current role as District 45 Club Coach Chair, coaching the club coaches. Peggy and Angela will be co-presenting our Toastmasters curriculum, Pathways, helping everyone connect. Conjunction junction, what's your function?
Thank you very much, Ivana. We're back to screen sharing, folks. Oops, it says I can't do that. Mommy, please let me in. That's better, thank you. All right. The infamous, can everybody see my screen? We're taking you back to what is not labeled as the profile page, but you can access a lot of your information through this page. And one of the more important things to me is your edit, contact information, and privacy. We are Toastmasters International, and there are many countries where privacy is very much guarded. So they had to add this page, but it also helped you, and I'll tell you why in a minute. You can edit your account information if you belong to a corporate club and you leave and you need to change it to your personal account. You can do that. You can change your password if you figure out what Olivet says and then she panics and she wants to change it. This is where she would go to change it. Your contact, as I said, your phone information, and this is your privacy because they do have third parties that can contact you. I don't know if they send out mail anymore. It's still on here, but you can say no. If you don't want to get emails, you can say no. And if you don't want phone calls, and it's not a warranty phone call, say no. And if you don't want your name on public report, if you move up through the ranks and get on a district level or something, your name could go out in public. So this is where you could say, no, I don't want that. And lastly, change of address. Let them know where you are and where you're living. As Olivet said, if you're curious about, oh, I put in an educational award, did it get approved? You can see it here. You can say, okay, they did approve it. If they didn't, you can get back to your VPE, or secretary or president and say, would you please approve that for me? And offices held. If you, gee, do I have to go to officers training? Check that list. If you're listed as an officer, you should go to officers training. And now I'm going to turn it over to Angela to go into choosing a path. Angela.
When you join Toastmasters, you get your first path free. well, it's with your membership dues. So you don't have to pay that $20 that's there, but to choose a path. How many of you are new enough and you have not chosen a path? Hands, anyone? I can't see everyone. So has everyone chosen a path? Oh, David, you have to pay attention. This is how you do it. So let's go to choose a path. The first thing you need to answer is, how do you want that information? Do you want a digital resource or do you require printed materials? Now, the interesting thing about printed materials is there's very slim, specialized paths that have all printed materials. If you have access to a printer, you can still get the digital resources and print them yourself, though that's not a problem. So I would encourage you all to choose digital resources. So go on over, said select digital resources. And then it's going to say, well, what path do you want to? Do you want to take a look at the paths? There are 11 paths right now. Do you want to look at them? Just to have a peek? And I would encourage you to do that, to go ahead and look at all the paths and see what they're about. You can peek at them, you can read through them, and you can go through it and take your time. It's kind of fun. There's some really cool paths out there. And then what you can do is then say, okay, well, let's take the assessment. They have an assessment, which is multiple choice questions. You take the assessment. At the end of the assessment, the computer will then tell you, oh, look, this looks like these 3 paths are good options for you. So you can choose one of those 3 paths. Then you can go back and say, well, what do those paths say? What you like, what you're interested in, what you think you might want to read, what you might want to learn. If you don't like those 3 paths, you still get to choose. You say, nah, good luck with that. I don't want any of those 3 paths. I want to go in and choose my own path. And you can choose a path even if they don't select it for your assessment, which is what I did. I said, yeah, I don't like those 3 choices. I want, behind door number 4. So that's what I did. Once you have your path, it'll download into your Basecamp. Pathways is accessed through Basecamp. This is where you do all of your educationals. Pathways is the Toastmasters educational curriculum. We are all on the same educational curriculum, which means we can help each other, which is so much fun. You can go to Basecamp and you can enter in and take a look at what it says. And Peggy's going to show us, I'm going to send it over to Peggy. She's going to show us how to start a brand new path. Peggy.
Thank you very much, Angela. I cheated a little bit and I've already loaded the page, but if you wanted to, you would come down here and say open curriculum. Because Toastmasters can be a little bit sluggish, I preloaded the pages, so forgive me. This is level 1. And of course, the first one you ever do is your icebreaker. This is a new path. I've reactivated this path. And you come over here and you hit activate. Wake it up. Say hello. I want to talk to you. And then you can launch it. And this is what takes a minute. But I promise you it's worth it when it shows up. And this is why I preloaded. This one wouldn't preload for me. So any day now you can do it.
Don't forget, we're using a lot of bandwidth because we're all here. So we'll give it a minute.
There we go. So you get your icebreaker. Many of the paths have videos in them, so it's great if you can look at them online, because the videos I found were very helpful. But it's very simple. You say begin, and then it will tell you about your project. They have a video. As I said, there are videos. I'm going to skip that. Up. Can't skip the video. Okay. They do have directions throughout the entire thing, but one of the most important things that you have to do in Pathways is assess your skills before. So where is it? There it is.
Kay brings up a very good point. It's really important that you know how to turn off your pop-up blockers.
Yeah.
or none of this will work right. It'll twist and turn and give you all kinds of fits. So make sure you know how to turn off your pop-up blockers on your computer.
Yeah,
That's key.
that's key, because this opens and then you sit there and go, why won't it open? So one of the things you need to do is you have to go through, and it's on a scale of 1 to 5. You answer the questions and then you go into your project. I'm going to skip this right now because I don't want to do that. And again, it lays out the value of an icebreaker, planning your speech, looking ahead. There are tools and forms in here that, as an experienced Toastmaster, I thought were phenomenal. I wish we had had this earlier. I think they're really great. And when you finish your project, you've given your speech, do not forget to do your assess your skills after. You have to close the loop. You'll be sitting there going, why isn't it being approved? Why isn't it being approved? You have to do the before and after. Now, if you forgot to do before, don't worry. You can go backwards. If you did after and you didn't do before, it'll let you do it. So don't worry. And as Angela said before, evaluation and resources. This is where you can print out your entire project. So if you are tactile, or you're going to be somewhere where you don't have internet and you want to go over and review, you can print your entire project. So you don't have to worry about getting the printed materials so much. So that's icebreaker. Are there any questions about just getting started with an icebreaker? If not,
We're going to do a Q&A at the end complete
Okay.
as well. So jot your questions down too.
okay. So now we'll go to, I have completed a level 1, and I've held on to this one just for all of you. It may look a little bit different because they just changed the system, but this is an old. And again, I'm going to launch this. Kimma. This is the thing that you need like a little 1 minute comedy routine to cover this nonsense of waiting for
In between. The one thing you have to learn is to be patient, because half of my problem with pathways in the beginning is I wasn't patient enough.
Yes.
Just have to be a little patient with it.
So we'll just go through, and I'm comfortable selecting speech topics. The Maine Thing will agree that that is very true. You say next. I'm comfortable researching unfamiliar. Oh, you better believe it. I'm confident in my ability to organize a presentation. Well, that's still a little questionable, so I'll give myself a 4 on that one. I am confident in my ability to create clear transitions. I will give myself a 4. Cognizant of organizational styles. Yes, because I read the material and it told me all about it. And I recognize how this project applies to my life outside of Toastmasters. I always love this one. It's the end of every one. We'll give it a 5. And then we hit submit, and look at that feedback. Wow, it's complete. I can see that I've got the first column and I've got the second column. It's done. And now when I go to my arrow, guess what? Congratulations, you've completed the project. Way to go. So now what happens? I'm going to close that window. And all of a sudden it says not activated. You see it now. I've got my check marks. Everybody's checked. And I say activate. And then when you say launch, you get this, which is the instructions of what I'm doing for you right now. It does it every time. So mark it complete. And now I will contact.
And this is the spot that everyone misses. So be careful with this. If you don't mark it complete, we can't approve it.
And
or your VPE can't approve it.
And you see it says pending completion approval. This is where you contact your VPE and say, I finished a level. Would you please approve it? And then they'll go in and they'll approve it. But we wanted to show you that it's not as simple. It's a little clicking all over the place, but I think that pretty much takes care of it. Now I'm back to you, Angela. I have to go to your next screen. Somewhere here.
Excellent.
Oh, yeah. And by the way, how you get back to Toastmasters International, see over here at Basecamp, you hit that. Oh, yeah. You hit that one, and it'll take us right back to that page. when we first got into pathways, everybody couldn't figure out how to get back to Toastmasters, and that's how you do it. It's always nice to know where the exit is. Angela.
Well, how do you get back? So we've covered to go to Basecamp, how to choose a new path. Now that third box over on your screen is it says View Navigator. This is your resource box. This is where when you get stuck and you want some more information, this is the column to go to. There's all kinds of cool things on here. But the coolest thing, I think, there's your speeches and evaluations, there's your learning experience, but somewhere in here, fourth one down is the Navigator PDF. This Navigator, you go to English, and it answers all kinds of questions. It's just a who's and a what's what about pathways. So when you've got a question and you don't know where to go, start here first. There's a lot of information here when you've got nothing else to do to peruse all your reading skills, right? This is a fantastic place to go. So I encourage you to come here when you, any kind of questions at all. And we can go back pegging.
Oh, and there's one thing I meant to say. It's very nice that you've got icebreaker and all this, but you know what? If you have an opportunity to give a different speech, you can jump levels. Just don't close the level. You can't close a 2 until you finish a 1. There's one that's called Prepare to Speak Professionally, 18 to 22 minutes. You never know, you might be at a conference and they ask you to speak and you're only at level 2. You can jump up to level 5 as long as there's a Toastmaster present to evaluate you and do your level 5. So you're not, oh, I have to do it one step at a time. You can wander around a little. Just make sure you mark them complete.
You can
correct order.
You can look out of order. You can take a peek and see what's coming up. You can do the projects out of order. You just can't submit them out of order. But that doesn't prevent you from doing it. And have fun. Take a look at those level 5s. Take a look at those level 3s and take a look at your electives and see what electives you have coming up. You never know when you probably could complete a project with something you're doing at work. As long as you've got a Toastmaster that can evaluate you, you're all set. All kinds of fun stuff.
Presentation software at work. That's a big one at work.
See, this level 3 elective projects, it says complete. Is this one you have to do 1?
2.
It doesn't tell you how many. Minimum required 2. So out of all of these options, you only have to do 2. But you get to choose which 2. How fun is that? You get to go and look at them. It's so much fun when you start looking through them. They got some good stuff in here.
Yeah.
Have fun with it. Make it easier on yourself because you never know when your project's going to come up. And we are going to turn this back to Ivana for your next section. Ivana, take it away.
Wow, that was awesome. Thanks, Peggy and Angela. Conjunction, junction. Now we know our function. You guys are killing me with the musical themes. This goes to our last presenter, and that is Cindy Sarvey. MS5, EC4, TM1 is your other club coach working towards her DTM. Cindy comes to us tonight from New Hampshire, Division A. She will be presenting Toastmasters Community, where you got a friend in me. Go ahead, Cindy.
Thank you, Ivana. Everything before here has talked about the club being your home, the club having the heartbeat of everything. But I'm here to tell you that the fun continues outside of the club too, where learning doesn't stop, where training continues, and where opportunity knocks. How? Bet you don't hear about Saturday events, Toastmaster style. But guess what? Saturday, there's a fall extravaganza where people actually spend their free time presenting and people actually spend their free time attending. Can you imagine that? But what do people get out of things like that? Knowledge, growth, ideas. It's not just another thing to do. When was the last time you went to an event that some people just kind of shook their heads and said, why are you even going? Don't you have better things to do? I'm here to tell you I've been in Toastmasters for 4 years. If I turn back the clock and go back to when I started Toastmasters, the transformation of myself is unmeasurable. People would say to me, what's different about you? I don't know. Fast forward, man, your vocabulary is broadening, your attitude, your organization, your leadership. What are you doing? Only thing I'm doing is Toastmasters. But I don't sit at the club. I'm out. And when I say that, there's the area, which is the next level, and that's DJ's level. DJ mans her clubs. DJ makes sure the club gets communicated to from the hierarchy. It's kind of like director, manager, supervisor, workers. The club are the workers. DJ would be the supervisor. And then she has a manager who oversees all the areas. Then there's the division, the mothership, where all the information trickles down and gets dispersed to the clubs. There's trainings, there's contests. How many have been to a contest? How many have been in a contest? It's a lot of fun because you see the best of a club, you see the best of an area, you see the best of a district. And if you make it up to division, you're seeing the best of the division. And that's usually at the conference. It's not enough to say you meet friends, you connect with other like-minded people on the same mission, because we're all out for our personal growth, whether it's leadership, personal development, or speaking. Whatever it is, we're here for a reason. Our why, and I've talked about this before in another club meeting, but what's your why? What's your reason for being a member of Toastmasters? You get what you put into your why. So next time you see an event on a Saturday, ask yourself, rake leaves or go check it out? Save your fingers some glove work, people. Put the rake away, you'll have another day to rake, and check out an event. Branch out, even if you're new, who cares? Sign up to be in a contest. Just try it. You might be pleasantly surprised. If you can stand up at your club and give a speech, if you can stand up at your club and do a table topic or an evaluation, you can do a contest. And if you're not ready for that, there's always opportunities for volunteers to help run the contest. And that's another whole experience all its own. But honestly, those skills build your evaluating skills. And it builds a whole bunch of other stuff for you. So don't just be a club member. Get involved and help one another grow. As Olivet said, there's a whole world outside of the club. And Toastmasters is pretty big. In fact, they do have a catchphrase. It's the best kept secret. So if you keep that secret in your pocket, nobody's going to know nothing. But if you start talking up Toastmasters and people are seeing the changes it's making within you, watch out, because it's pretty incredible. It's even better when you notice the changes yourself versus somebody telling you the changes. This whole adventure is a journey. We're all in it, voluntarily, by the way. We all do what we do because we love the mission. We love what Toastmasters has to offer, and we've gained personal growth from it. My why might be totally different than DJ's or Angela's or Olivette's, or why Dave you're joining, or Kay why you're here. Whatever it is, we're all on the same Zoom platform right now. We're all listening to great stuff, and we all want to be part of a great organization. So whether it's a TLI for the officers, which I highly recommend you getting involved because it does train you up, whether it's reading the newsletters that cross your email, check them out because there's all kinds of good information in them. Whether it's the magazine. All magazines to me are flippers. I flip through the pages and I read the headline. And if it grabs my attention, I will stop and read the article. Life's short, people. I can't waste my time on things. But when I do that with Toastmasters, I find myself dog-earing, when we used to get the physical copy, dog-earing pages that I had to read because it caught my attention more than not. So take the extra time to go through the digital copy. It's all learning. And unless we're dead, we will continue to learn. So feed the noggin with some good stuff. So I challenge each and every one of you. Open your door just a little bit and check out the world of Toastmasters. Join your community, join fellow clubs. When you have a contest, join another club and host a contest together so it's not so taxing on just your club. It's a thing, people do it all the time. There's ways to make the community easier, and there are people there to help you along the way. So reach out. Miss Ivana.
Thank you, Sydney. That was a really inspirational, motivational presentation. I particularly loved your pauses. They're awesome. And it's nice to know we have a friend in you, as well as all of us. So this will open us up to questions. So if anybody has any questions for any of the presenters, you can raise it at this time. Just raise your hand or unmute yourself and go ahead and ask it. One question that I had personally is, and it could be for any of the presenters, but how often do you guys have a fresh start type of workshop for the new people that come into Toastmasters?
I'll take that one. This is the first time this type of a fresh start has happened. Typically what happens is the club actually mentors and trains new members as they come in with new member orientation. So we're just helping everyone here get a fresh start so that as new members come in, you just take that person under your wings, you know your skills. The interesting thing about learning a new skill is you really learn a new skill when you teach someone else that same skill. It almost makes it double the learning experience by teaching. So this is the first time this has happened. Typically, TLIs, Toastmasters Leadership Institutes, are held twice a year, and those are for officers, to train new officers. But the secret is anyone can go. So all kinds of stuff training wise happens at TLIs. But as for new member orientation on how to get into your website and what is all the roles and how do you sign up for a speech, or how do you get into pathways? How do you select your path or your assessment? That's the kind of stuff that happens in a new member orientation. So thanks for that question, Ivana.
You're welcome. Does anybody else at this time have any questions for any of the presenters? David.
Sure. So first of all, that was really, really helpful as somebody who's new. I think I only received my confirmation on Monday that I'm officially over the transom, so I'm legit. This is great. So obviously the timing is perfect for me. I'll go through everything. I'll process it. Particularly the pathway side, I'll try to make sense of it so I don't have a lot of questions until I've had a chance to do that. But I did wonder, outside of pathways, are there opportunities informally or formally for me to maybe reach out to a member and say, hey, I've got this speech coming up in a couple of weeks. Are you willing to sort of listen and give me some feedback and help me a little bit? Does that happen, as I say, informally or formally?
I can take that one, David. It does, actually, because you can reach out to anyone in your club and say, I have this thing that I'm doing. Maybe you're doing it for work and I need to practice. You can actually practice it in the meeting, or you could reach out to somebody, maybe the time frame doesn't work or it's too long of a presentation for a meeting. You can reach out to anybody, any other Toastmaster, and have them listen and help you with it. You could even record it on Zoom and then send the recording to someone and say, hey, can you watch this? And then kind of pick it apart and tell me what you think. So there's different ways to do it. If you have a project at work that you're going to do a presentation for, this is the perfect opportunity to be able to hone that so that when you present it, it just knocks it out of the park.
Kay also had her hand up. I think she wanted to address that question too.
First, I had to put my hand down. Yeah, and so there's this other opportunity called mentoring within a club, right? And so, David, we haven't used it a lot formally, but I think it's a really good idea and a really good opportunity right now to offer that to you. My thought about it is that it'd be nice to know what pathway you've chosen, see if there's somebody else in our club who's on the same pathway possibly, and make a buddy out of you two, so that you have a buddy who's on the same pathway as you. But really anybody in the club can be your mentor if you want a kind of one-on-one person to bounce things off of. So more on that soon.
In addition to whoever your VPE, which is Kay, pairs you up with as a mentor, you also have your club coaches who will, one or both of them will be at your meetings. And you have me as area director and Angela, but actually any of us on this call, Cindy, Olivet, Peggy, we're all happy to help too. If there's, let's say you had a question and your mentor just wasn't quite sure the right answer, reach out. We're happy to help.
Great. Thank you all. Very helpful.
Great. So we have Peggy, did you have a question?
Yeah, I just had a comment of pathways can be very flexible if you can look at it. I recently had someone come to me, they're my mentee, and they were doing deliver social speeches or deliver social speeches. And that's receiving an award, giving an award, a toast or a eulogy. And they're like 2 to 3 minute speeches. And she goes, Peg, I just spoke at my great aunt's funeral. I gave the eulogy. She goes, it was recorded. Could you look at the recording and do my evaluation? It was recorded. I was able to do her evaluation. So she actually got Pathways credit for that. So these are the things that you can think about, that maybe a Toastmaster isn't present, but if you can record it, they can look at it and do your evaluation and then meet with you. I'm going to meet with her and we're going to go over the evaluation. So it's just, there's a flexibility if we want to look at it that way. You know, if you're kind of going to go hard and fast, it's going to be a challenge. Sorry, back to you.
That's a great point. Is anybody else on that has a question for any of our presenters?
I don't have a question, but a comment. I wanted to thank all of you very much for doing this for us. And hopefully we'll see you at some of our upcoming meetings. So that would be great. Thank you. And my apologies, I had to duck off to take a work call, so thank you.
Kay has her hand up, Ivana.
Okay. Did you have a
Just
question?
Yeah, just a little logistical thing. I mean, DJ has figured out how to record this, so we are going to keep our promise to the members who would have loved to be here tonight and couldn't, among whom, is like Susan works for the town clerk, so it's election day and she could not be here. She really wanted to be here for tonight. And so my thought is, maybe DJ has already thought the same thought, that it'd be really nice to have a link to the recording of tonight's meeting in our nifty new Brunswick website that can be found by the members, or maybe guests too. I don't know if we want to have guests be able to have access to this, or only members. So that's a question that's out there.
Either way, however you want to do it, I will figure out how to do the recording. Well, I know how to save the recording, but Peggy just did this with our pumpkin spice meeting, so I may reach out to you, Peggy, but we can absolutely put the link on the website. I'll put it in the members side for now. And if you want to make it public, you just change it to available to the public.
And Kay, I also put together a PDF, like a workbook for you guys as well, that'll go along with this. So you can refer to that as well, and DJ will make sure you guys all get that as well.
And just one other thing, I want to take a family photo of everyone. So Libby, you'll have to come back on camera in a second. But there was one thing I forgot to show you on your nifty new website. So let me just go back to this real quick and show you.
And thank you, DJ, for doing that website for us. It's really, really informative, and it is quite spruced up. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Right here you have a Wall of Fame, which is available to the public. And what I only went back to 2016. However, the report that you sent me, Laura, goes back to 1998. If you would like to have all of that on there, let me know and I can put it on. But a lot of those people are no longer members. I realize some of these people aren't either. But I thought this was a good section of the awards that members have earned so far. This is awards that the club has earned, and then your distinguished club status I put here. And this part you'll just update once a year. This updates 3 times a year, and then anytime somebody gets an award, you just have to add a row and add their name, which is kind of fun for everybody to see their name in print, as it were. But now, first let me stop recording.